Ready?
Okay, and so,
Here we go.
okay, you're on.
All right, thank you. Hopefully, people will be able to see this and hear this today. Quote number 5 up there on top: where there is kindness, there is life. Thanks for your help.
No worries. Hey, next time, make sure the batteries are in.
Yeah.
Charged.
You
Ready to
didn't
go.
say anything about batteries.
I said when it turns red, Larry. When it turns red.
It was black. Black batteries. Oh, I better not say that. Okay. Uh, I'm going to repeat this again. This class is small, but every day check your class site, dashboard, and bulletin board and for updates and posts of assignments, due dates. Um, Also, over on the right-hand side, it actually flashes up and leaves up the days of the assignments for a little while. I'll try not to erase anything until the week is completely over and post new information. Okay, for those that didn't get to hear the lecture in the past, just make sure you've taken notes and read. We're going to talk about the main part that I want you to understand in Plato and through Socrates and Plato's pick on justice and happiness. Behind me on the board, on my upper, I'm pointing to it, is Socrates, Plato speaking through Socrates. It's called the character map. And there are the 5 characters that surround the purpose and the Greek purpose of the history. If you look at the names, they each stand for something. I'm sure on the camera you probably can't read real well and with this plexiglass. But the top one, please excuse my pronunciations, Cyplus, Cephatus. Okay, he represents the experienced man, represents man. Over to the right of that, Polemarchus is the warlord, represents the fighting side. To the left, on over to the left is Didymus. He's the poet and storyteller. Down at the bottom, Glaucon is the guardian to knowledge. And Thrymachus on the bottom right is the teacher of rashness, emotions, letting things out. Of course, in the center is Socrates, who is the center of the character map. And of course, Plato is there because he speaks directly through Plato, Socrates and Plato. And that's where this came from. So that is the basic core of Plato's position, and all the characters here play a role in justice and the unjust and how to reach happiness. Now, Plato also states and tries to make known, says individuals who face post-mortem judgment, they are not determined either way if they have been just or unjust or have lived that way. But he says individuals, people in general, ponder whether we should love justice over injustice, or should there be, a combination of the two or a mixing of it. But he does bring out the point that goodness of just is Is it for the sake of our benefit individually, or is it something that we do just so we have a better chance to be just in our afterlife? So, now, a couple people have talked about the confusing of the tripartite soul, and it's over here behind me, would be on your left. And I'm just going to give you the basic information, and then after that, try to tell you what must occur in his opinion. Okay. The tri means triple. And I think what he's trying to get to, well, I know he's trying to get to, I'm sorry. Even after death, our soul, he says, is reborn. Now, is that reincarnation? Think about that. But when we pass away, our soul leaves us, but it waits for our return later. Now, the part that gets confusing sometimes is this soul can also attach itself, he says, to other people while it's waiting for us to return to it. So that's probably the confusing element there. But I wouldn't let that worry you too much. The three parts are logos. That's the head, the thinking part. B, up there on the board, if you can't read it, it's thymos, Thymos. That's your heart or your chest portion of your body. And C is the eros, eros. This is, he refers to it as the stomach, but it's the guts, it's the desires, your anger, your love, your pleasures. So the three parts of the soul, once again, are the logos, thymos, eros. Now, the hint that people probably missed because the sound was off was that all of this can be mixed with individuals or, in this case, city-states. Greek was known for its city-states, yet still under the Greek rule, but the city-states or countries. And since they were the dominant country of the time, they wanted to make sure they stayed that way. Now, he says in order for the soul to be in harmony, or for a country to be in harmony, or for a city-state to be in harmony, you must have all three of those in a temperance or control situation, where they don't interfere with each other, but they blend and help each other and not resist or fight each other. So if you let one of them dominate you, then it interferes with the flow of your soul and of your being as a person. So let's take for example, eros, your emotions. If you let your emotions dictate how you do things or how you react, you can see how that can off balance, and your logical thinking will be overpowered by the urge to strike out, maybe protest, destroy property, instead of and forgetting the purpose of your protest. And so the correlation there is easy to see in that fact. Thinking back when he was alive, that was a pretty remarkable way to look at things. So with that in mind, that is the kind of the meat of the tripartite soul, the blending. The question is, why add classes to it? Classes of people. Well, it's for the same reason. If you're going to talk about an individual in a country city-state, then there were classes established in those days. We call them here nowadays, upper class, middle class, and lower class. But it follows that same premise of blending together in harmony and having temperance or patience, and to determine where we're headed. And then the final question in review again was of what I've already said is how it affects you and what you do with it and what you decide is the right way to do things with it. So I know you can't phone me up right now, but hopefully that clears some of the air. And now, something you missed on Friday, and I just want to review them. These are the 9 motives to live by. And some of you that were here in class probably already have that, but check them out again. These are the 9 motives to live by. You live by 1, ethics. 2, you live by metaphysics. I can see hands going up on the camera already. What's that mean? We'll come back to that. 3, having a epistemology, epistemology. 4, psychology. 5, education. 6, music. 7, theology. 8, art. And 9, mathematics. Now, if you look at all 9 of these, they comprise just about everything. There are emotions involved, there are feelings involved, there's religion involved, there are things of logic involved and morals. It comprises almost everything that an individual does live by. And sometimes we don't look at that and break that down in our own being. But some of it applies a little more to the Greek times, but I think they all apply. Could you tell me what, in class here, metaphysics is again? What is what? Okay. What he said is, what is real or unreal? That's what metaphysics is. Epistemology is, what do you have written down? Okay, it's your feelings that distinguish things between what you believe and what's going on. Do you believe in the riots that are going on that are destructive? Maybe you believe in the protests and some of the reasons for the protests that's going on today. So that's that. Psychology, I think everybody knows, of individuals thinking. The rest, I think you don't need any explanation for. But there are 9 motives to live by. There are 3 parts to the tripartite soul that he tries to explain. And I think once you kind of eliminate all the extra stuff around it, it makes more sense now. Remember the tripartite soul includes individuals, classes, and city-state governing bodies or countries. Okay, one last thing. The character map was put up there so you could understand the characters that Plato was speaking in dialogue with to and through Socrates to the outer areas of, again, man, war, poet, storyteller, teacher, and guardian to knowledge. Those are just names that were given. And I know in our text they spend a great time arguing back and forth with the guardian to knowledge of Glaucon, because that's where he gets into the just and unjust. So in my opinion, to be just and unjust is vital to our motives for life, but does one dominate the other? For me, I'm hoping that I have the blending of the two, that there's value in both. Not everything can be perfect. Now, the last thing I want to mention is this little comment right here. Kailepolis is one of the city-states, okay? And this is the point I want to make with it. It's the just city of perfection in his eyes. I wanted you to know that earlier I made reference to your soul being put into another person while it's waiting for you, and vice versa. I said that at the beginning. No, and that was, is that reincarnation, the religion? Just food for thought. If you look at the city-state, the just city, perfection, that should remind you something as young adults. Perfect city-state. That is a form, a direct form of socialism, Marxism, the perfect place. Now, I think the intent, in my opinion, is to have a place where people are not only equal, but have a place to, state their opinions, but see the confusion that can develop through time and direction. Is that possible? Who's going to do this or do that or govern that? That's the problem when you try to find the utopia, the perfect. Now, our goal is, to travel to God and do what we can, but do we make people follow us? That's the question. But that was an experiment to think about what it would be like to have that perfect city-state or utopia for society or government. And that's a whole nother question for discussion. Okay, would you mind turning off the camera? I'm sure hope everybody sees this and hear and some of this makeup. And before he turns the camera off, make sure you continually get on the class site, and I will be posting some more information. We're going to push all the due stuff for Plato till Friday, and before we move on to our next philosopher. So continue to read the dashboard bulletin board. There's some confusion there. And I'll try to keep you updated the best I can and hang in there and try to get your stuff in. Most of you have. It's really been tough for some people to stay up because of this confusion. And I guess all I could do is apologize for the batteries running out. I guess that's what our problem was. All right, thank you.